You know, when we hear the word meditation, most of us immediately think about stopping our thoughts, right? Trying to get that perfectly quiet mind. But what if that's not the goal at all? Today, we're going to explore a much deeper idea of meditation, one that's about finding a constant, natural state of peace, no matter what your mind is up to.
So let's just start with this question that kind of turns everything on its head. What if meditation isn't about wrestling your mind into silence? What if the real goal is to discover this incredible peace that's already there, just buried underneath all the mental chatter?
Well, this profound state has a name. It's called Sahaja Sthiti, which means the natural state. The best way to think about it is like the deep ocean. You know, the surface can have all these choppy waves. That's our thoughts, our daily activities. But the deep ocean itself, it's always calm, always still. The goal here is to realize that you are the ocean, not just the waves on the surface.
There's this incredible ancient verse that just nails this idea perfectly. Wherever the mind goes, there is samadhi. I mean, think about that. It's saying that true peace isn't about locking your mind in a cage. It's about uncovering a state so deep that it's there no matter where your mind wanders.
So the big question is, how do we get there? Here's our roadmap for this explainer. We'll start by really defining our destination, the effortless state. Then, we'll look at two very different paths you can take to get there. We're also going to cover the 4 foundational practices you'll need, no matter which path you choose. And finally, we'll look at the incredible transformation this whole journey is all about.
All right, let's kick things off with our destination, the effortless state. It is so important to know what we're actually aiming for before we start walking.
Okay, this right here is probably the biggest mind shift we need to make. We're moving from doing meditation to being meditation. See, at its deepest level, it isn't about the struggle and effort of sitting down for a practice every day. It's about discovering a state of being that's already inside you, a natural state of just ease and presence. The practice? That's just a tool we use to peel back all the layers to reveal what's been there the whole time.
So how do we start peeling back those layers? Let's explore the first of 2 major paths. This one's called Nididhyasana, and it's often a great fit for people who are a bit more philosophical or analytical.
So what on earth is Nididhyasana? Well, it basically flips the whole script on what we think of as meditation. There's no external thing to focus on, not your breath, not a mantra, nothing. Instead, you turn your attention completely inward and start investigating the investigator. It's a really deep philosophical dive into the formless self.
Let's break this down because it can feel a little abstract. It all starts with this constant process of reminding yourself, I'm not my body, I'm not my thoughts, I'm not my ego. Then, from that space, you ask the big question, who am I? The idea is to follow that question all the way to its source, which leads to this incredible realization of Shivaham, I am pure consciousness. You can see why it's called a direct path, but yeah, its abstract nature can make it pretty challenging for a lot of us. Okay, let's switch gears and look at the second path. This one builds a totally different kind of bridge to the exact same destination. This is the path of Upasana, and it's all about devotion. It's often way more accessible for many people.
Now, this is a complete 180 from what we just talked about. Unlike the formalist path, Upasana gives your mind an anchor. By focusing on a divine form, or a concept, or even a sound, you're giving your mind a place to rest and pour all its energy. It's kind of like giving a restless puppy a favorite toy to focus on. It just naturally calms everything down.
And here are some really beautiful, concrete examples of what that actually looks like. You could focus on the cosmic sound of Om, or a specific deity that you connect with, like Krishna. Or you could meditate on a chosen symbol, or even just the vastness of the entire universe. The specific object isn't really the point. The point is that it gives that wandering mind a sacred, beautiful place to land.
This slide just lays it all out side by side so you can really see the difference. On the left, you have Nididhyasana. It's formless. It's about looking inward at consciousness itself through self-inquiry. And on the right, you have Upasana, which uses a form, a deity, a symbol, a sound, as an anchor for devotion and concentration. Look, one isn't better than the other. They're just different trails leading to the same mountain peak, designed for different kinds of people.
So you might be thinking, those 2 paths sound really different. And they are. But what's cool is that they both stand on the exact same foundation. Whichever one speaks to you, your progress is going to depend on building these 4 foundational skills, or Abhyasas. Think of these 4 like building blocks, where each one supports the next. It has to start with Ekāgrata.
That's just the basic ability to focus your mind on one thing. Once you can do that, you can start to cultivate Prashanta, a real sense of inner peace. And from that peaceful place, your perspective just naturally begins to expand into Vishālata, where you start seeing beyond your own little world. And the glue holding it all together? That's Sattata, the simple, steady commitment to just keep showing up and practicing.
So really, at the end of the day, these 4 skills aren't some other path. They're the very ground you need to walk on. Without this solid foundation of focus and peace and perspective, well, trying to walk either the formless or the form-based path is kind of like trying to build a house on sand. It's just not going to work.
Okay, let's zoom out and bring this all home. Why? Why do any of this? What's the big payoff? Well, it's about nothing less than a complete and total transformation of who you are. You can think of this whole practice like planting a tree. At first, you're just tending to the roots, those foundational practices. But over time, that tree grows strong, and look at the incredible fruit it bears. Your mind becomes more peaceful, your concentration gets sharper, your whole perspective widens beyond just your own self-interest, and qualities like compassion just start to show up naturally. It all leads to this fundamental shift in your personality, and ultimately, to a kind of deep, unshakable happiness.
And that right there is the main takeaway. This entire journey isn't about fighting to get a peaceful half hour in an otherwise chaotic day. It's about using that practice to completely transform your entire experience of life, from the inside out.
So, I'll leave you with this. The whole journey really starts with a simple question you can ask yourself. When you look at all these different possibilities, form or formless, sound or silence, devotion or inquiry, what is it that brings your mind home to a place of peace? Just exploring that question could be the very first step on your own path to that natural state.